such a singularity that can't be handled within the realm, his presence really shouldn't be there any longer than it already is. I mean, it went from snowing to hailing, right? Right. The farmers kind of said that. So to me, I was
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
it just seems it's like, okay, you give us this, okay, so you give us like this high stakes thing, right? It's like, okay, Meliodas can't be here anymore, right? He has to go, he has to leave, he has to leave. And it's like, okay, now he can't leave because Eldris is Demon King, but it's like, well, I mean, that kind of kills the whole suspense factor, because I figured that if this was going to be the new angle, like we were going down, that Meliodas would kind of have to be forced to go to the demon realm with Elizabeth or not. And if the Demon King were coming back, which he is at this point, that essentially it'd be left up to the Sins to kind of find a way to essentially hold out until they find like I guess the best solution to deal with him. But I mean, this seems like the best solution since there's not many people who can actually handle the Demon King one on one. I mean, there's actually no one who could really handle the Demon King one on one. So it is what it
Well,
is.
I just think, going on that, I just think that after you know what, I lost some faith in One Piece for a little bit. I really like Wano, but I lost some faith in it a little bit, and I was kind of like, come on, things are happening too quick. There's too much going on. It's too oversaturated. And then those last couple of chapters, and I just shook my head, and on my review, I just basically said, look, I should have had more faith in Oda's writing, just because he's not giving us all the answers, and it seems like it's not making sense, and it seems shallow, and it seems that way. Give him his chance. He's not the best-selling manga of all time with 900 plus chapters going strong for no reason, right? So, in the same sense, and as I said to you before we started, Zarsul, that Grim, you, Naya, Keishan, all of you guys convinced me when I was saying no. You know, I'm not agreeing with this. This is like about Seven Deadly Sins. You guys basically convinced me on air on the podcast that, like, you know what? Maybe I should have a little more faith in Nakaba. This isn't a bad thing. Look at it glass half full. So I'm just gonna withhold judgment for a little bit because I was proven wrong a couple times ever since about chapter 300, where I've had some really mixed feelings about the series and the arc. So, but I've been back and forth, back and forth. So I'm just gonna step back for a minute. I'm gonna, you know.
Yo! What's going on, guys? We out here with that. Nigga, it's just too much out here, bro. This nigga Zeldris now, bro. What you, bro? The DK has been wilding for a minute now. His machinations have flourished twice now. And it seems like he's getting ever closer to his goal. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover it last week because of some issues that we had, and now we're here this week. We're gonna be talking about both 311 and 312. Hopefully, hey, shut the fuck up, Chubb, with that E-rape shit. Hopefully we'll get 90 Hemmings, the Zeldris, what should we call him?
He's coming in. He just said he's coming in.
I bet. He's our Zeldris fluffer. If you know about porno, you know what a fluffer is and shit. So, he's gonna come in and lead the way with the discussions and shit. But, I want to start off with 311. So people were telling me that this is not what they saw or what they read. So I'm going to just tell you guys this is only my personal viewpoint opinion. Nobody has to agree with it or even think it happened. It could be complete headcanon. But from 311, I think was the best chapter in at least 50 chapters of taizai. Not only did we get that classical Nakaba storytelling where you get a complete story, a complete backstory, a complete tale in one chapter, and it's the emotional ups and downs, and he sets you up for it. At the end, he hits you with it. That happened with Kusak. But I believe that we got the reveal of the Demon King being infatuated with his sons and the true love of that he holds for Meliodas and Zeldris. Now, all that culminated in the return of the Demon King.
Everyone stop.
He jumps in and he stops the whole fucking works.
Who is Trash Boy Zell? Who is it?
We haven't trashed anything.
Who's Trash Boy Zell? Whose name is that?
Well, you know it ain't me.
Come clean. Confess. Who is this?
It ain't me.
Oh, you should have changed your voice and tried to keep it that way the whole
Who
time.
did it?
You should have said, I'm Batman.
It's not me. I mean, I don't know who it is.
Better not be the Arthur fan. You have no power here.
fuck?
Oh,
my
Jesus Christ.
What's popular?
Oh shit,
Come
man.
on, man.
Dude.
We out here just chilling, dog. What's up, dog? What you thinking, dog? It's all on you, bro. What's up?
Yo, I'm like conflicted because he looked cool, but that's not my man's in the body.
See, that's what I've been saying for a minute, bro.
Like,
y'all talking about the Zeldris guy. Come on. You can't be
Like
doing
what?
that.
And then you have to go like, you know what? It's not that bad. Like, bitch, you better put respect on his name. Like that body's kicking. All right. What you talking about? Meliodas didn't have no dick print in his outfit. All right. You don't have that problem.
I swear, like yo, like y'all looking for his dick print, like it's like fucking goddamn Carmen San Diego or like Where's Waldo. Like y'all gotta like let this thing go.
Nah,
Like
because
it's
where
tiny
that
ass
yo
feet.
skin tight. Where that? Where the meat at?
Padding, bro, padding. Relax, let it go.
That's
Yo, Jit looking clean as fuck with
But,
it, man.
but
Wait.
this does alleviate your problem, Griever. You did not like how the Demon King went out, so he not
This
out.
is true. This is fucking true. And I was
mean-
proven wrong. I was proven wrong on 2 points. I was proven wrong because I said in my theory video with 5 theories, I said my number 1 thing is that the Demon King was killed by Trillion Dark. That was my number 1. My number 2, he was pushed back to Purgatory. But I can take the L. I was fucking wrong. And now, as you said, we get another bout. We get another shot at this. And as long as it's not a repeat of what we just saw, I'm all for it.
Oh, it's about to be crazy, bro. This is brother versus brother, dog. It's like my niggas. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but like the undertones of emotions these past 5 chapters have been crazy as fuck, bro. From like niggas crying because Meliodas is leaving and shit to Elizabeth declaring she's gonna leave with that nigga, and then everything being alright to fucking. Nigga, that bitch died right in front of us, and then she wasn't dead, and now this nigga's back and shit, and Kuzak, like, bro, it's, these past chapters have been nothing but a roller coaster of emotions, my nigga, like, this shit's popping, and then we got that Zeldris drip.
Whoa, Graham, I have to ask everyone right now, did anybody, because I believe we all stated this was a distinct possibility, did anybody actually think that Merlin wasn't going to zip Elizabeth away from that falling boulder?
I mean,
we all said it. You know,
Nah, I just didn't know what was happening.
Actually, I didn't even pay that much mind, but you guys harped on it for so long, and I'm happy that you were right in the long run. Comes like, because you're right. Like, there's no way you didn't react to that slow ass boulder falling after everything you've been to.
Yo,
These
listen,
speed feats just.
I'm telling you right now, if Merlin didn't save Elizabeth at that moment, I don't know, because it's like, yo, you have like the strongest of like anyone ever in the realm, like all together at once. If she couldn't do it, if no one could save her, like I'd have been like, yo, y'all trash for real. Like I don't care. Arthur's better than all of you. I'd say it immediately.
It always comes back to Arthur.
It's just me. I mean, amen. It's, you know, those are just my opinions personally.
I already feel like I know how this is gonna end, though. Not end, but at the very least, like so with the Demon King, I guess he is ultimately gonna be the final antagonist, I suppose. So whatever bullshit Meliodas found out, it did somehow defeat half the curse. So I guess the supreme deity's not in here, but it looks like they can just recast it, maybe, because he's like, nah, it's back now. So,
Bruh, deadass, for a second, I deadass thought this nigga was talking about the deity was back, dog. When the DK was like...
No, I meant the curse. He's like, oh, the curse on Little just back now, so I guess he can just reinvoke it. So like, there's a lot of things here to really consider, but the thing that I think is going to happen ultimately is, I don't know if they're going to completely take out the Demon King's body, but I think the thing that's going to help Zeldris regain himself is Geller's going to find him. He's going to like, oh, I love you.
That's the other bullshit, right?
So
the girl does a lot of
that's
shit.
going to be a horrible meeting.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen, right? Listen here, all right? Listen, y'all.
If he doesn't die in this, then I think that'll be bullshit. If Zeldris or Meliodas don't die in this encounter, then we have a problem. Because it shouldn't be like with the DK, how like Meliodas is in there fighting for his soul and shit like that. That shouldn't be the case. Even if Zeldris wakes up in his mentality, shit like that, if they both beat him because they're fighting in his head and from the body, I'll have a problem with that.
the same thing happened.
I mean,
Yeah, you know what? I did say in my review, I said the one thing I don't want to have happen now that we have the Demon King back, and Naya pointed it out, it's like, I was mad about this one. We have a second opportunity. Do not pull that shonen shit now that they've hyped it back up, that Gelda shows up, and like, because right now Zeldris is unconscious in his mind. His subconscious is asleep or drowning, whatever the fuck. and don't bring Gelda up here, and then the Demon King kill Gelda, and then he goes, well, if Zeldris truly isn't in there, then why are you crying? And then it pans to his other side, and there's tears coming down the street. Don't do that shit. I don't want another mental battle. We just had that. Don't do that. You know.
Amen, 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 amen.
You
listen,
know.
listen here, right? Listen here. Mental battles are literally like the driving force of taizai. Every single character has had some kind of mental issue at one point or another. I don't want to hear it, all right? Like Gother messing up Dreyfus way back when in Leonis. Come on now. Heck,
Yeah, but
heck,
the Sins versus Hendrickson, then that was fine. You know, Escanor versus fucking anybody, that was fine. You know, Bond, even Bond doing his shit. Like, not every fight needs to go into the mental world and fight on two planes.
not
Like,
everyone does, but at the same time, it's like, listen, it's like, okay, we can't beat him on the physical plane. Clearly, like, come on now. The spiritual plane is also a battlefield. You cannot ignore it, technically. I mean, technically, like, that was one of the first battlefields we actually went through with the Sins. They actually went to the spiritual realm to fight. So,
By the way, like, how is he like around though? Like, I don't know if I
the Demon
probably
King?
didn't. I feel like I didn't pay as much attention as I probably should have when I was reading it. So I was just like, oh no, he's
Who's a DK or Kusai?
Demon King. Just because I'm like, okay, so
We don't know.
what's
There's we don't know what happened whenever they kicked him out of Meliodas' body. We just know that as long as the commandments are around, he's around.
As I said at the beginning, that what I believe happened, it was my second theory in my video, and everyone, yes, I'm plugging shamelessly. That second theory was basically, okay, if the Demon King wasn't killed by Trillion Dark, then that was his soul, his mind, whatever, right? That we saw him fighting Meliodas, right? And all that happened was that pushed him out of his body, and apparently the Ten Commandments too were ejected from his body, and that soul mind stuff just went back to the sliced off arm, dead ass body in purgatory. And he woke back up in purgatory. Ten Commandments is basically a vessel, it's a link. It allows him to establish a link, and he can pass through that link when the Ten Commandments are all together.
That was my understanding with the if you put the 10 Commandments in a singular body.
Right.
Somehow it allows him to be like, yo, listen to my shit now.
Honestly, the way
we could be wrong, but that's what I've been led to believe.
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering because you know how Meliodas became like the quote unquote new Demon King and he's so powerful he can't stay here. So I was just wondering like, if he's still around with this level of power and they're both in the same physical plane of existence, this is not a problem. So I'll just
you know what? I've been saying that for a minute now. It's like, it's like, I thought y'all was supposed to get the fuck up out. Like, can y'all, like, do something about that? Like, we're just gonna forget that? But no, I always figured that the Ten Commandments were kind of like how, like, those chakra rods with pain, it's all like, stick them in there, moving dummy, take them all out, just a dummy. It's kind of how I saw it, at least. But I don't know. I mean, when it came to Demon King's powers, I kind of, like, want to see it just simply because like the more deeper you kind of try and, like, I guess, like, delve into like the power system, the more confused people seem to get. So it's like, it's just half of his power, half of his soul. Just leave it at that. Obviously,
I don't know. It just could be a little jarring when you start. Like, I think we all know we're still in the end game, right? So when you start to kind of these new elements like this late in, it could be a little jarring because like I thought you would think you already understood everything about the power system. Maybe the DK just lied because like the 10 Commandments supposed to be a portion of his power. Like what percent was it? Maybe I can't remember how much each one was supposed to be, or
like 5%. 5%.
Yeah.
So I found it weird that if you put all of it in one body, he can just be like, "Yo, what's popping?" Like, So
damn. Okay.
So maybe he just straight up lied. Like maybe that's not true. Like
okay, so
maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so real
quick. I mean, he lied about the 10 Commandments, didn't he? Like everyone was like, "Oh, you get the 10 Commandments, you become the next Demon King." That was everyone's assumption.
That is the case.
You know what? He didn't lie. He actually didn't lie because he is the Demon King. If you
No. I know. It was one of those. I didn't tell the whole truth. Yeah. It wasn't. It was one of those. It wasn't a lie. It was.
Or you interpreted it wrong.
Right. Yeah. Everyone, even Zeldris and Meliodas, everyone interpreted it wrong. So, that layered amount of writing, I'm kind of okay with more the longer I've had to deal with chapter 300.
That's still even if we were to like take it to that, because I'm not picking it as much of a big of a problem with it as you guys are, but like to put it all in a semantic game, like, oh, you gonna become the next Demon King, all right? Like that's straight semantics, bro. Like, come on, dog. You finna base it all on that because it's literally that you're gonna become the next Demon King. He's gonna become you. It's he wasn't lying or misleading anything. That's exactly what he said. Is what happens. It's just it was a semantic game, but.
I thought no, hold on.
That's not telling the whole truth, man. That's
Okay,
not
so
saying,
let me-
yeah, I'm going to possess
so
you, take over
It's
your
not that
body.
it's telling the whole truth, but hold on. This is how Nakaba normally like writes up the power system. I remember talking about this last week, but I remember saying this earlier. Every single time Nakaba brings up someone's say like power set or power skill, he'll give you like something pretty simple. It's like when Bond used Snatch, right? And Guila saw it's like, oh yeah, your Snatch. Not everyone knows about your power. And like chapters later during the fight festival, you have King. It's like, oh, not only can you do this, but you can do this and that. Same with Zeldris, right? Like Merlin and Ludisha were like, oh yeah, like we can't like use our magic to affect them because it's not working. And then like as the battle continued, they kept like I guess like understanding like the intricacies of his powers. Like that's kind of how Nakba does it. It's like he starts off like pretty soft, and then after that starts like like truly like construct a power system. So when it comes to the Demon King, essentially it's kind of the same thing. It's all like, oh yeah, I did this, like that's how I said it, but the way you interpret it is again like kind of like just kind of misconstrued.
They assumed the title would go to them. They weren't thinking the whole fucking person, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went back and checked real quick. So when they were talking about like how it works when so half of the team game was defeated, and they're saying as long as the commandments of a vessel, it can't evoke its power. But anyone who was not strong enough to contain its power, they will just die. So
Yeah.
obviously Zeldris was strong enough to contain them, so he's one of the reasons why he can come back.
Yeah.
So
Well,
but what do you guys think about the like the Cusack and Chandler thing? Because I forgot that happened. He just
Chandler.
they split
Cusack-
apart,
damn
and
it.
he's like, "Listen,
Cusack a
Zeldris
bitch.
out."
Kusak a
He's kinda-
bitch. I'm gonna say that right now. Kusak a bitch. Like really, you gonna do that to Chandler?
Oh.
Goddamn kid.
No, man. Cusack and Chandler. I'm actually like I was happy to see them, but I'm also kind of mad the fact that like once again this could be pacing because we are still in the end game. You know, this series might not continue longer. We really have no idea at this point. Nakaba trolled us hard for over a month, so
He's been
at
trolling
this
us
point,
for the last 5 years.
yeah.
Come on. Now.
So I'm sitting here going, I'm looking at Cusack and Chandler, and I'm like, I'm so happy they're back, even though if it doesn't make 100% sense how they're back, but then just to basically kill them off, then the same, I'm sitting there like, do not bring my boys back because I really liked Chandler and Cusack, and I was disappointed by the original Sinner Demon, and the fact that they bring him back just to be fodderized is it. I don't know.
So y'all didn't cry? My nigga, this is what I'm talking about, bro. This nigga betrayed one of his own niggas, something that we've seen uncharacteristically from demons and shit, because that doesn't happen. The few niggas who have done it are fuck niggas, quote unquote Meliodas. So he betrays his main nigga. He betrays himself, technically. He just killed himself, bro. The shit that he got split in half, he killed himself. His ultimate devotion, his feelings that were given to him by the DK, he used it to give Zeldris everything. And he cried when he attained it, bro.
He actually killed his like part of himself and actually doomed Zeldris to the fate of having his body possessed.
Yeah, and Zeldris is sitting there like, shit, no, fuck. Oh.
But nigga, that's what I'm saying. That's classic taizai tragedy. Like that's nothing but great writing, man. Like you trying to save. Oh, fact. Go ahead.
Don't get me wrong. I'm okay with the tragedy, and I'm with you there on the feels part of it. What I didn't like was that it was ambiguous. We were all asking the question after the Greater Sun attack. Is Sinner alive? Dead? Charred? You know, well done. Like we're sitting there waiting, and then we get back. Okay, yeah, they split again, no consequences, and they're gonna die. Don't get me wrong. I was there with the feels with Cusack and Zeldris and all that stuff. I was there for that, but there was the lack of build up to their fate from the get go. It was their abrupt fate's end and then bring them back to die sort of thing. It just felt a little abrupt from a writing perspective.
I mean,
still cool with them coming
back. You say that, okay, Hungry, you say that, right? But then, like, let's talk about Wild. I mean, if you want to talk about, like, came in out of nowhere, then, like, immediately gone, like.
No, I felt that whenever Hawk was talking about some, no, I want to go to purgatory to go see my brother or whatever, like,
Yeah, we're
I
still
felt that shit.
seeing.
In
Yeah, we're,
terms no in terms of like if they're there at if they're like a part of the story. Like I know that in one of the translations it said that, oh yeah, I want to go make like a grave for my brother, which I mean, like, I don't know if they even know if he's dead or not. Personally, might have been just a translation error, but at the same time, it's like that's kind of how it is. A character will kind of come in out of nowhere, and then out of nowhere, kind of like leave the story, and then maybe come back unless their death is confirmed. Same like it happened with Gold Gilas. It happens with the Pleiades of Azure Sky. It's happened with tons of characters. It's just how Naka kind of does things. I mean, when it comes to the when it kind of, so when it came to Kusak and Chandler, I didn't know what he was gonna do, and then when he kind of just offed him like that, I mean, I don't know. It just kind of felt weird. It just felt really
yeah.
weird. It just
That's
really
what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not saying it was bad. It was now all of a sudden we get some fan favorite antagonists. I would say. I mean, if you don't
for
like
sure.
Chandler, you like Cusack, and or vice versa. And just to do that is kind of like wow, like that's whoa. That's all I can
Chandler
say.
might actually have a chance of coming back in the oddest of ways.
Why?
Remember his
Why
But
is that?
splitting?
I'm getting a little tired of that. Like, just I'm okay. Just let him be
Yeah,
done.
like do not bring them back again. We thought they were at this point. I think everyone thought the sinner died at that point. Where the
Everyone thought
crisis would have
Esterosa
been.
died,
Because
and he was like
because
a
I
10.
feel like
Come
they
on
were
now.
just a means in the end to kind of give them for that 3-on-3 a little bit, not 3-on-3, but kind of. But you know what I'm talking about with Escanor, Merlin, and
Blue
what's the fuck?
Desil.
Here we go. Like
Yeah,
I almost feel like their whole purpose was just kind of for that. Because I'm trying to think of, okay, you know what? One, okay, he did kill Arthur. I'll give that. But other than that, I feel like
Get
they didn't really do
that
much. They're kind of just like,
shit.
you came out of nowhere to me a little bit. I also thought the introduction was a little bit abrupt. And they're like, okay, we're here. We trained, the prince and whatever, and the princes, and then they
yeah.
kind of just like didn't do much.
Everything involving them, actually, I'll agree with that. Nia. Everything involving them has been rather abrupt from a writing perspective. They're still
Yeah.
awesome, and I
Even
still
when
love.
like even like all right, oh we're back. What happened to us? I don't know. If there's Eldris, okay, Chandler, now you're dead. Like,
Yeah,
like it's
whoa,
just
whoa.
so
Like he didn't think to, and that felt. I'm not going to say at a place because it's potential, but the fact that
yeah.
this thought never like came up or foreshadowed across either Chandler or Cusack's mind before this point, like if I take the other one out, like I'm killing my own half, but clearly they don't have an issue with that, and they both knew I'm team Zell, I'm team Mel. Well, eventually one of us is going to have a problem, like so the fact that it just came up so abruptly and with no indication that they were ever going to try or that they could do that before.
Mhm.
Eh,
I mean,
little,
I agree. I also want to point out a fact that I think it was very early on when they when they appeared and everything. I think this was like around the time Cusack was going over crazy over Zeldris as usual. I think like that one little demon that Kaith ended up eating. She had taught what's called she pulled Cusack to the side and then said something, and then he was all like, "I'm gonna go and leave my post for a minute. I got something to do." And then Chandler was all like, "What are you gonna go do?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it. I'ma just leave." Now that he's dead, I'm not sure if that was like Nakaba who like if he had like an idea and kind of like scrapped it, or if that's gonna come up. There's like a lot of like small little things. I'm not sure if he's just like kind of like testing things out and just kind of like omitting them as he goes because like there's tons of like Easter eggs and stuff that just like you see that just never really comes up. I'm not sure what he's planning, which is the reason why it's like I feel as though this is a good move, kind of like just being as spontaneous as possible because at this point anything could pop up, literally anything.
it's
Again,
true.
I'm not too
Yeah.
happy with killing off the original sinner.
No, me
I'm not, I'm
neither. I thought that
I'm
was
just not.
unceremonious a little bit.
Keishan earlier said that that Cusack might no not Cusack Chandler might have a possibility of coming back because he had split himself. I forgot about that. Don't worry, Keishan, I got you,
Yeah,
buddy.
it just seemed like a weird thing that he used one time, and now he's been split into a bunch of pieces, and I just thought about it, and I
But
was like,
now they're both gone. I think if one side was alive, maybe I would think maybe somehow. I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked somehow if he came back, but
I'm
when
not
Demon
shocked.
King was resurrected, he's like, "Fuck this nigga," and he smoked
Can
him.
can someone? I want all your guys' opinions on this though, because this is part of the problem that bothers me. Is that like I'm not even going to get into the power scaling factor that if fucking Male was able to just do one attack, not at noontime, not in the one form, and take out literally the most powerful demon the Demon King ever created, then why the fuck they had a problem with the war? But I'm going to sit here is that on page 9 in 311, he says, Cusack wakes up and says, "What happened to me? I broke free of the Demon King's punishment and returned to my original form, the Sinner Demon," right? Okay. And then Chandler wakes up and he says, "We just barely survived that single attack from Male. And now it seems the punishment has once again taken hold, splitting us back into Chandler and Cusack." So my question is, why? Why the fuck did that happen? Because remember, the Demon King can't invoke his power. Gotha and Merlin stated that earlier in the chapter. Zeldris is not there yet. 10 Commandments are fading away, and Meliodas just Trillion darked his ass back to purgatory. So why all of a sudden? Okay, we broke the punishment. We're going to die because of crisis. We took an attack that should have killed us. It didn't, and somehow split us. Like reactivated our curse. Why?
Yeah, when he came back.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Yeah, but why?
Think,
What?
When
Why
he
would
came
getting
back.
hit by an
I
attack?
think I can explain this. I think I can explain this.
The same the same way that like when he came back, apparently the curse that was on Meliodas and Elizabeth started working again. Shouldn't that fall under the same?
Yeah, but
No, but
Grim, but
he's saying
this
that
happened.
when the original demon became original demon, this was long before any of that. Like, as far as we knew, the demon maybe the process of taking over Meliodas's body in the Ten Commandment cocoon. Maybe I don't know. I don't have
Maybe, yeah. But
I
but what I'm
so
saying,
but then again, I don't think at any given point. Well, actually, no. Actually, there's so I can think of so many things, but I have a counter for each one. So never mind.
yeah, because basically they basically wake up, right? Chandler and Cusack wake up in their Chandler and Cusack forms, and the 10 Commandments have already been dispelled and are disappearing from Meliodas'
Yeah,
body. The Demon King is gone.
The issue would come when they came together, not now, because now we've gotten evidence as to why things would come back. It said that same thing for the spell, that because the DK's back and his powers are back or whatever, that he's able to reinstate curses or do shit. So that makes sense.
He's not back at this point.
Yeah, but Griever's saying that when they wake up, the 10 Commandments are all just floating around, about to fade away. So the Demon King currently is not supposed to be around.
Yeah. At the time of them splitting back and waking back up, he can't invoke a curse. Right now, Meliodas destroyed Elizabeth's curse, and that curse is gone. That curse ain't back yet. That curse is gone until we saw Zeldris wake up as the Demon King again. Right now, that couple of days, that one day, whoever knows, right now, as far as we know, the Demon King is can't invoke his power in the physical world, and that's literally what Gotha and Merlin say. It's like right now they can't do that. He can't do it.
Yes, yeah. Just some time. The issue, just really the timing of some things is a little weird, a little skewed.
Yeah.
I could rationalize it, so I'm not gonna dwell too much. It is what it is, because I feel like there's enough reasons. There's enough ways to explain it, even though we didn't get a concrete one. But I was gonna ask you guys this: how did you guys feel with that Indra thing? Because I'm like tired of these hidden demons.
I keep thinking it's Galan's friend for some reason.
Before I even jump into that, I just wanted to state just real quick that at the end of the day, I kind of take this as story-driven storytelling compared to like character-driven storytelling, because at the end of the day, it's all like some of the stuff is kind of inconsequential because it kind of just like moves the story forward. You're
It's a
right.
means to an end.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, you're right. They should have been destroyed completely if they took enough damage because they invoked their curse and when they came back together. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, this kind of moves the story forward. And again, like this, like story-driven storytelling was kind of how a lot of Arthurian legend was told back in the day. Characters kind of put in there for for just like kind of themes and movements that were going on at the time. But at the end of the day, it was all kind of just the story that was really just like the main issue. Character storytelling is kind of like, oh, Cusack kind of like explaining himself as to why he cares so much about Zeldris. At least like that's kind of how I rationalize it. Now on to the Indra shit. Hey man, he's a demon king. Like there's a portal to the demon world. Don't ask too many questions. Plain and simple.
Oh no, I don't necessarily have because isn't that thing when it destroyed their heart called Indra?
Yeah,
Uh,
they become
yeah,
an Endora. They become an Endora if they kill
Oh,
6 out of their 7 hearts. It's their ultimate form. What basically is coming out now is one that doesn't actually have a human form. It's one that went totally the Mon Speak Derriere route in the past
oh.
arc, and they like Elizabeth pulled some Deus
but it
Ex
didn't
goddess
die.
spell, and yeah,
Yeah,
these
so that
Endora
was
are
so that
yeah
was my understanding. So I think it's cool in that regard if they're going to connect it to that in any sense, or maybe talk about it briefly. But
yeah.
just one of the things where he's walking like, oh, could it be? And I'm like, come on, bro, you're just gonna just summon this big ass demon? I was just
Yeah,
like,
and the fact that like I do find it a little convenient because Merlin says, "Oh, I only opened it big enough." Like she's the one who
yeah,
opened the
yeah,
portal,
yeah.
and then she's like, "Okay, well, it's closing right now. It just so happens." Like that's just it.
Driven
That
storytelling. Don't
yeah,
don't let it bother you, man.
That no,
uh,
it's not bothering me. I just thought it was a little lazy.
a
Just in
little
my
yeah.
opinion, just a little
It
bit.
would have been I would have been fine with the Demon King going, huh? Well, since I don't have enough strength of my own, and he opens up a portal because remember, every spell Merlin's got Demon King got it. So it would have been totally fine with me if the Demon King had opened up his own portal. That would have been not as convenient that the portal just so happened to not be closed by the time he went, huh, maybe I should pull some Endora into this world. Like,
Want it to be Galen's friend that he mentioned. I
oh,
just
yeah.
want it to be.
It won't be, but I mean, I feel you. It would have been nice if he actually grew. That'd have been a nice little teaser. But hey, man, you can't win them all,
It's
unfortunately.
going to be
Hey,
some kind of bug thing, apparently.
another thing too,
I
because
thought for a
essentially, like,
second
we're
it was a thing from the movie. My bad. Keep.
no, no, you're right. That like it is. That's actually the same looking Endura because it looks like the I think Keishan on his podcast called it an ankylosaurus, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's basically what it is.
yeah.
The
That's
the
what it was.
tail anyway is
Fuck is
very
But
similar.
Ankylosaurus?
But
Or
my thing was
ankylosaurs.
this that actually kind of made me kind of curious this chapter. Whatever happened to Elaine? Because I get it, they grew back up
Yeah.
in the boar's hat, right? But Elaine was there currently with them when Elizabeth almost got fucking well, essentially almost got rocked essentially. But my thought process was why was she not in the area like at all? I mean, like, she's like, Elizabeth's best friend along with Diane. Why would she just kind of be gone? Like, where is she? I know it's like a small little thing, but again, I was kind of
It
curious
could be explained
because
later. Maybe she do something.
Yeah.
Maybe she just off panel for now. But I feel you
fair
though.
enough.
I feel you.
Like, again, I just kind of found it weird because like it's like like we don't need to like have this girl like like be off panel then like almost die again for like a third or fourth time.
Again.
Just
Ugh.
don't let that happen.
Yeah,
Bond's
that's
like, I
true.
already gave it up once. I can't do it again. Damn it.
Yeah, and he
I need
gave up
that
his
fairy
own.
box.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I could need that fairy tale.
This
Um,
man.
Oh
I need you
no.
to stop. I need you to stop. You're hurting me.
I could be wrong. Also, like there was one thing in 311 that I initially thought was lazy writing or retcon, and eventually one of my subscribers pointed out that there was one line about the supreme deity and the curse and all that. So I was wrong about that. But the other thing that I was just kind of curious about at the end of 311 is that okay, I understand everybody's tired, but we saw that it took an abnormal amount of time for Meliodas to like take in the Ten Commandments and fully, there was a timeline given or whatever. But it takes a while for the Demon King to use them to become a vessel. And I didn't go back through every chapter, but are you telling me that after fully recovering Merlin, Meliodas, that's causing fucking tsunamis halfway across the globe, Bond with all his power, Gother, King, all these people, nobody noticed that demonic fucking presence of the literal god of demons coming back?
Hey man, listen,
Miles
it's
away.
after
He
That's
learned
all
that
I'm
key
saying.
it's after
control.
the war. War, everyone's tired. No one really wants to do anything too demonic. Like at that point, right at that time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have overlooked this. Like, listen, I get small demon like 3 miles away. I ain't gonna deal with it. I haven't seen too many demons, low key. Or the demon king actually knows how to control his power and can actually like hide his presence. It's
Yeah,
also
I,
another
he's
thing.
just like Vegeta. After he got his
Yeah.
ass kicked on Earth, he went to Namek and he learned key control. And he's like, damn it, now I know how they were hiding all the time. Fuck
Not
them.
not only that, but just for anyone else listening right now, just just to note, the reason why the sins actually all went off on their own individually was because of the fact that Merlin stated that if even two of the sins were together, the Holy Knights would be able to essentially zero in on their location because their power levels were too high. So this is also kind of a thing. He's powerful, but on his own, it's kind of like hard to just look for.
I kind of want to piggyback off what Griever said because you reminded me of something that I thought was a little strange. That when you were saying, I thought you were going to go there, but you went somewhere else, which I think is still an interesting question. Like how did no one sense someone that powerful?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Meliodas' presence. I don't know. I could figure out a reason, but I like if it told me. But you brought up something new. Like I could see with all these questions, I have an answer in my head where it's like, okay, the process of making Meliodas the Demon King was literally a process. It took a while, right? Now I think maybe at one point he did all the commandments, but he didn't just get them all and like boom, I'm here. It took a little bit of time, and it was like it almost seemed like immediate with Eldris. Is that because he was wounded? Like I was trying to figure out like how come he just immediately took over his body because I feel like it didn't happen that fast with
Well,
Meliodas,
well,
unless I'm misremembering because I haven't revisited the material.
well, I have 311 open night, and I think it's been, I don't know how many days, but how many days did they spend celebrating before they tried to go back? Because as far as I was aware, like Cusack woke up, killed Chandler, took the commandments and stuff literally right after the Demon King died, literally, or was sent back, whatever, right after their victory, and he hid Zeldris and himself and the Ten Commandments away. Now, we know that night happened because we saw Hawk and Bond and Meliodas' conversation, and we know that there was at least a couple days because Bartra making his decision about making Meliodas the next king, all these things, so it's been a few days, right? And then by the time they say, okay, I'm ready to leave, I'm ready to go, that's when they realize, oh, the Demon King must be alive because the curse is reactivated. I'm assuming that in the current timeline, the last few pages showcase that Zeldris that's when he first became the Demon King. It took a few days, but basically when they were going to go to the Demon Realm, that's when he woke up. It's been a few days. It's
The
just
big
not
six
shown
fight
well.
was half done without Meliodas having one of the commandments, and then once he got it, he quickly got out of the cocoon within less than hours. Less than hours after that, I don't see there's definitely a time scale there from the big ass.
Noon was already done. Noon had already passed because Escanor had already faced off against Eldris with the one. So it
No,
was
I was just
maybe
wondering
like
if I just felt like from what I remember, it just happened immediately with Zeldris and
It
not too
did.
much.
It wasn't shown like time wise. It wasn't shown because
You
like
think maybe it took a while?
yeah, because like
Okay.
remember the panels in black when he does the black, not the white background between the panels means it happened in the past. So first in 311 we see the him doing all that shit, and then we go back to white and we see that okay we're back in present timeline. So basically, as far as I'm aware, Cusack was killed by Demon King basically at the same moment that boulder fell on Elizabeth. That's the way I took it. We went from
Okay.
present to
Okay,
past
I
to
got you.
present. So
That's
it
like
did take some time.
that's kind of like remember when we were trying to line up the events with the Mael reveal with what was happening.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's my reasoning, anyways. I assume that's
your rationalization.
yes, rationalization. That's right.
I'm not gonna lie to you that timing is the else. It just felt kind of weird, kind of off. But I mean,
That's what
it,
I
it
say,
is
but
what it is.
I'll reread it again and then I'll judge.
Yeah. If you
No,
use the black background as a sign of okay, this is happening in the past, and once they jump back to white background and white panels, then it's in the present, then it sort of makes more sense. But it's not told explicitly. You kind
I
of have to
get
assume that.
that. I get that. It's just that like all the events that kind of happen, like I guess like side by side. Because remember, it's like okay, it's Stigma versus Esterosa, aka Male, and then at the same time you also have Merlin versus you have Stigma versus the demons at the same time. But it's like the amount of chapters that we covered from Stigma versus Esterosa was ridiculously long compared to like Stigma versus the demons initially. Because I think I think it's not even like a quarter compared to like what we compared to like like the Astros coming through, getting crazy, like observing like what like up to four commandments, transforming, King's transformation, all of that like culminating, and then them leaving to go deal with the demons, and then we have to go back in time technically with Ludashel, Escanor, Merlin. So I feel you. Like I get it, but at the same time, it's just so weird because like it's like yo, it's like you fit all of that at the same time. This is happening. What? How do you do that? It,
Um,
I don't know. It's always bugged me. Always bugged me.
uh, Meliodas finally trusts Elizabeth to fight with him.
That was big. That was big.
How
That
you
was a
feel
big
about it?
moment.
I love it. That's just we call that
Yeah.
growth.
Uh, uh,
Would you really call it growth though? Because if you recall, 3,000 years ago, they agreed to fight their
But ever
basically god.
since, ever since, he's been
True,
OD protective of her, and even
true.
when she got her memory back, he still kind of was, and she started kind of convinced him like we like don't shut me out. Let's do it together.
I
you know
don't
what?
foresee it. I mean, it might be a little bit. I
I'm
guess you
not
could call
saying
it growth.
I'm
But
not particularly saying like oh my god look at this character. But I'm just saying like that's just personal growth on this part. Like all right, let's do it
I
together.
feel it's more like a circle of life, like not more so character growth, like a progression scale. Like he went from level 10 to level 20. I see it more like he was level 100 and he dropped down and he came back full circle, like some circle of life shit. Because now he's willing to do what he
Yeah,
did last time. You know?
but that in
That's
itself is
development, bro. Come on,
yeah
man.
because if something happens to you like say you're pretty happy go lucky person something happens to you right
Yeah.
and you something tragic happens and you kind of quote unquote regress and you're not so happy and something re-sparks that happiness in you, you go back to where you were, but that didn't mean you have to relearn it. It's still growth.
Yeah, yeah.
We
No, you're
got
right.
we got a lot of strong parallels with the Bond and Meliodas relationship. Like whenever we got another one of those big connections with that in the Purgatory where Bond trusted Meliodas when he said, "I'll be back, friend. Don't worry about it." That's been reminiscent of what happened before. They've done that with each other. So to see him take that same stance with Elizabeth, a person who we pointed out is nothing but like oaths to protect her no matter what. Like that's the princess. Like this is huge, my nigga. Like
It's huge, but I do want to point out a couple things real quick. So, at least with Meliodas, we know that 3,000 years ago, like he kind of like looks back on it and he's like, okay, like 3,000 years ago, like I kind of felt this way, but I mean, back then I had you, and I mean, like, it's kind of the same way it is now. I think the only reason why it seems like it's a big growth is because he's finally regained what he's lost after 3,000 years, and that was his emotions. Because remember, the Meliodas that we met up until he died was a pretty confident person. He was secretive, but I mean, he was secretive for several reasons. You can't tell humans you're human because they'll be like, "What the fuck? That's weird. Get out of here." And you can't let Elizabeth know that you love her because then from there it's like, "Oh no, my memories. Oh no, she's dead 3 days later." So at least you get that. But then you realize after when he dies and everything that essentially like his true feelings, his true motivations, his insecurities, all those things that you don't necessarily see were just kind of there in purgatory. They were also there on the outside, but I mean like they were like I guess like those feelings, those emotions were much stronger in purgatory. Now they're all back, and we're kind of and like again, we've kind of seen Meliodas from chapter 1 up until chapter 312. It's like okay, this is growth on his character because like we kind of like see everything kind of culminate together. Sure, he's a big confident guy, but I mean, this is something that he's been dealing with ages. It's growth, sure, but at the same time, it's like I feel like this is more growth on Elizabeth's part only because she's kind of grown into herself a bit more than Meliodas has. He's kind of like rejoined himself, but she's kind of like grown into herself now. That's how, at least that's how I take it.
Yeah, I feel it.
that's
Like
isn't that I feel that's to be the exact opposite. Like she's the
Why so?
one. Whenever we got Goddess back, her memories and stuff, that's when her demeanor and her actions changed completely. This isn't the first time where Elizabeth is assertive. She's the one who made the alliance of Stigma. She is the leader along with Rudisill of Stigma. No one else, not even Merlin. It's Elizabeth and Rudisill. And then she's the one who led these guys for all the points. She's the one who helped them during the Holy War Part Two. Whenever the Albions were fighting everybody there, it was Elizabeth. They've even Merlin herself has told her that you're the leader of the seven deadly sins. If it's anything, it's been Elizabeth reestablishing who she's already was because she's a goddess, showing her friends the sins and reminding Merlin of her big sis of what can happen. And it's Meliodas who, just like you guys clarified, agreed his feelings in return. So this is going to be a new guy, technically to a certain extent, it's a new guy, but he just said it right here. Like these qualities that you've always had, he calls it pushing me from behind and giving me courage. You gave me light. it's all that about you that I hopelessly fell for. That's why he fell in love with her. So to see that back again in his time of like his brother's about to his brother just got taken, bro. Like his brother literally just got taken and shit. He even said
It would be the third betrayal, as she pointed out.
yeah. His best friends, like he just sent his best friends to go deal with an unimaginable monster just so that they wouldn't get involved in his own squabble. Like this man has grown, bro. Like this, I fuck. Like out of all the main characters we've seen in like a lot of fiction, bro, we can't say Meliodas doesn't have crazy development.
Oh, he has certainly grown. He's grown exponentially, and we know I'm okay with. I know I'm not sure if it was you, Grim, or I forget who, but someone was saying like they really wanted to see the build up, like Meliodas and Elizabeth's first meeting, and how he actually went from crazy I basically I rape bitches for fun to all the way to getting well, I'm paraphrasing, and going all the way to being the way he is now. Like we all want to see that, but I think that we've seen her like try to when they were battling demons as part of Stigma in the past arc, she basically infected their minds to go home, go to your families, go like she was always the passive one. She always did that stuff, working for the good of all people. So in that,
again?
Huh?
what's that?
Was that from again? That Family Guy?
It
No.
was
What
was that
which
dog
part?
puppet, I think it was. The fucking skedaddle, get the fuck out of here, skedaddle.
I don't know.
Sounds
Anyways,
familiar.
Yeah, that's why I laughed.
I might have heard it from something, maybe. Sure, okay. Family Guy reference. Anyways, so basically at the end of the day, I just feel like we now with this coming full circle, and especially this chapter, I feel like we aren't going to need that. We don't need those answers. We've already seen it. We don't need to see their whole love story develop, and because it's already being kind of shown to us and explained to us in more
I
than
agree.
words.
I agree with that. We essentially understand how it began with when they first met and they decided to go against everybody betrayed. We saw that. We know there's been a couple incarnations. We didn't get to see too much of it, but there was like the little panels where he was explaining it. Sometimes from a warrior tribe, this and that, and the other.
Savage
And-
Elizabeth was dead ass dope as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like
and to me, the most important one was the previous incarnation with Liz and how she went out because she didn't even die from the curse, right? And how that pissed him off.
Yep.
And he fucking smoked. I can't remember what demon it was. I really don't remember.
Fraudrin.
Fraudrin,
And then we had the current version. I actually do think it's enough. If you want to expand upon it, you just do what you do with the bad thing. Make it a side story.
Make a side story.
Yeah.
Yo, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I
real
don't.
quick,
And
I
to
just
build
wanna
off
say,
what you
not
said,
to let
the Liz thing, I've always thought that the reason, because a lot of people have said that people who are currently reading the manga, I've heard from people, like friends of mine and stuff, that have said, hey, you should watch this anime, you should check this out. They say like, well, wait a minute, if there's 100 plus of them, why the fuck like did he lose his shit every time? And I went, no, the whole thing was he's gone through this over 100 times, and Liz is basically like, so now you're basically in his mind, it's like, now you're telling me I don't even get my 3 fucking days? At this point, I can't even keep her alive to the point that she remembers. Like I'm not making progress. I'm going backwards, and that's what set him off. Because otherwise,
it was probably an immediate reaction too, like what the fuck? Because he's probably thinking every time it happens is gonna be because of the curse. He's like, hey, what is this shit?
Yeah, he probably mentally prepares himself once she gets her memories back. They probably both do. Like this is gonna happen. But that was out of the blue. That was out of left field, and he went, "Fuck this." So.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I'm outside real quick.
Your boy's Eldris. I'm very curious because I think you said something at the beginning. Does somebody not like his new design? Because I think it looks fucking badass.
I guess I was saying he looks really cool, but that's not my man's in there. That's my problem. That's not.
That's fair.
I don't give a shit about the Demon King. Get out of there.
Hey, he looks better. He looks way better than Mel did.
I absolutely agree. I don't think
Yeah.
that strike pattern, whatever, no dick print having. I don't know what he was doing. Was not
Dude, Zeldris is sitting here. He's got some Darksiders 3 fucking cloak on with the Eye of Sauron in the middle of his chest. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus
Which
Christ.
apparently can blink, which then
Which
makes
can
me wonder
blink.
where the fuck did you get that thing from?
Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
I'm all for that.
Amen.
Though
Demons
I
don't
will
ask
say
questions.
one thing on page 7 of 312, because now I know we're on to chapter 312. He says, to be honest, I was worried about the performance and the ability of this body would be far inferior to Meliodas, but it's not that bad at all. I can get control, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Is that Nakaba's basically his way of saying to us, yo, yeah, Demon King just really thought, because we've always talked about why the fuck, if this was the Demon King's whole plan since 300, and this has been part of my problem since 300, chapter 300, is the fact that if this was your plan, just to basically get a body, a jail at a free card out of purgatory as a result, why the fuck didn't you take the will? You had the 10 Commandments all together. You had Zeldris, a vessel, right fucking there. The rest of the story makes no sense that he just... Meliodas was so goddamn important.
Listen,
He could have,
I actually did think about that when I was it. The conclusion I came to was literally what he said. I think it was based on strength, right?
Yeah.
Because Meliodas' body was technically is stronger than, let's be honest, he's stronger than Zeldris.
Absolutely.
It would be ideal to have that one over this one, but the fact that he had to end up going in this one, first of all, he can handle. I don't know if it's just a biological thing. As long as you relate to him, you're good, or you have to be strong enough. Because Miles will be pretty strong and he can handle it. But conversely, though, maybe the darkness just not mesh with his like angel or whatever as well as like what like maybe we took 4 arcs. What do they call arcs? What graces? Graces. There we go. For the graces, but when he's in his body, he's like, you know what? I might have misjudged him. Like, no, not bad at all. Like, I could fuck with this. So that's how I saw it.
Yeah, I as I said, I'm okay with it, but I think this is Nakaba's way of answering that question. It feels like it's as I said, I think it's a reason. I think it's a little weak considering he left a shit ton to chance. You know, when he could have. You can't convince me that this current form of the Demon King would not have wiped the fucking floor with Meliodas pre-purgatory.
That's what I was
all
saying.
the sins. Just gone, and then it would have been
easy counter argument is you do that because Zelda wants to be Demon King, take over his body, and then you beat Meliodas and you just take his body. Like there was,
I was about to detail that. It would have been the better thing. It's like
that's why I was saying with so many questions we ask. I literally have a counter as soon as I think about it.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. As I said, I thought of the same reason. That's why I asked: is this Nakaba's way of explaining it away? Is it a reason? Yes. Is it a little weak? Yeah, but
I'll
overall,
take it. But it could have been
take
better.
it. Yeah, it could have been done better. There were better ways of bringing that up. I think, anyways.
Can I just bring up the fact that Meliodas?
Does everyone think that Zeldris is like drowning? You know, I know that's just them showing for panel.
I saw that.
Yeah, is he in that state because he was like we see him all healed up, but like he says, "Good boy, Zeldris, don't go rejecting your father like your foolish older brother." I don't think that's because he didn't reject him. I think that's because Zeldris was on fucking death's door.
Yes,
and he got taken advantage of.
I agree with that. He didn't really have the means to fight back because he was already on the
mentally weak, physically weak. It happens. I mean, let's be honest now. Diane got taken over by like a crap ton of souls because she just didn't have like the right stuff in the head. But then again, she's always been kind of like fucking soft in the head, so it is what it is.
Oh.
Hey man, it is what it is. But no, I just wanted to bring up. Can we just talk about how Meliodas is still keeping secrets from everybody?
Yeah, I didn't like that. I thought that was the worst part of that chapter.
Hold on. Hear me out.
What?
Let's be honest now, right? No. I mean, let's be honest now, right? At the end of the day, okay, we get it. You don't want to involve everyone with your family affair. But let's be honest now. What essentially have you been doing for like the last couple of chapters? Dealing with your family affair. I mean, you went think about it, right? You went to your man's house, like your man's crib, and then fucked it all up because your dad wanted your body. I mean,
if your grandfather is disabled and your friends have to somehow change his diaper because you're not around to do it, would you also want them to feed him after you're there?
Say that again. You cut out.
No, you cut out. I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it.
Nah, you cut out for me. I couldn't hear that shit. Say that
Y'all
again.
niggas tripping, bro.
I said you probably cut up because I heard what he said.
I heard part of it, and then I just don't know if I didn't understand what he
that's,
said.
I know what Zarsel's basically trying to say, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, the thing is that think about it, Zarsel. At this stage in the game, right? You have
Uh-huh.
an incredible legendary beast called Indora. We've seen their destructive power, or at least the legend of them, right? And we have the Demon King to deal with. So what's your plan? At the end of the day, even if he told them right there, it's Zeldris, I gotta go find him, he's my brother, I can't kill him, I have to save him. And they're all like, we'll do it for you, Captain. They still need to split up the group. They still need to go, well, somebody's got to go. Who are you going to trust? Gil Thunder and Hauser to deal with an Endora? No.
Hey man,
You're going to
I
go
said that in the
fucking...
chat. I said in the chat like
No.
weeks ago. I was like, listen, you're not gonna get. Listen, them boys ain't even up to snuff. All right, like listen, no human at this point in time is up to snuff. I don't even consider Bond a human. Let's be honest, that shit's broken. But you're right, and again, I understand it makes sense. But it's like, yo, for like the last 3,000 years, he hasn't let anyone know anything. I mean, it's like, you have friends, people that you say you trust and everything, right? It's like, hey, my brother is the Demon King. Like now that you guys know, I mean, I kind of have to go do I'm gonna have to deal with this at some point. I mean, I'd figure they'd like split like split the forces a bit more sparingly, just to, like, I don't know, deal with it. I mean it's an Enduro. What are you gonna like? Obviously it's gonna be like crap storm. Don't kill it immediately. Just kind of like, direct it away from people, and then have some people go up against the Demon King. But then again, I understand it's part of the story. This my gripe is that at the end of the day, Meliodas, he says that he trusts his friends. But it's like, yo, if you really trust your friends, you wouldn't have held that away from your friends.
So my point of view on that is, I understand. I get your perspective. I actually understand that. Especially considering he was able to, like, all right, let's fight together, Elizabeth. So it's like you took two steps forward here, but in this department, you took two steps back. But as close as you can be with a lot of your friends and people of that nature, sometimes family things you just gotta keep in the family, man. Right? And,
Yeah.
and it's like you don't need to burden your friends with extra information. So it's like, you guys just go deal with that.
family.
I'll deal with
Actually,
this.
okay,
I'll deal with this, and maybe just tell you after the fact. And maybe he doesn't want anyone to have to, like. Maybe he just want the fact that somehow
They're going to die.
if he has that, and if he has to kill his brother, or
he has to do it.
He wants
has
to
be
do
him,
it.
and no
Yeah.
one doesn't want anyone else have to do that or witness that or see what he has to do and everything. So I actually do get what you're saying in that regard. It didn't bother me because it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to keep that with the literal biological family. I know Elizabeth's not related to him, but I consider that his wife or fiance, so whatever you want to call it.
Basically,
So
partner.
that's
partner.
at that point, it's family to me. So it's, and they both got cursed by Demon King, so like they're in it together. So
like
Listen,
I'm
and I
like
understand that.
I agree.
But it's like, yo, it's like, listen, it's like, think about it, right? He, like, in one of the last chapters, he was like, yo, be like, a lot of a lot of this is because of me. Arthur's dead because of me, right? Like, fucking, we lost tons of casualties, and even Escanor, the most prideful person, so like, you think you're the reason why half that shit happened? Don't be so presumptuous. But I'm like, yo, calm the fuck down. He kind of is. I mean, think about it, right? The Ten Commandments were coming. He had information on the Ten Commandments legitimately. Like, he had trained most of them and fought most of the strong ones, right? He had information on them. All literally didn't say a single thing. All that happened that when Meliodas meets Bartra and they end up forming the Seven Deadly Sins is that Merlin was always in it with them, right? Merlin was always in it with them, and at the end of the day, with Bartra's vision, she was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make the Seven Deadly Sins. Now we're gonna go crush the commandments. The commandments are bad people, and we can't let them come through." But the idea is, at the end of the day, he kept his background a secret. This is like Arthurian legend stuff coming in, right? Lancelot, one of the greatest knights in all of Arthurian legend, did his damnedest, his very damnedest, to keep his lineage a secret. Always did. Like that. Like that was just his thing. He was taught at a very early age. He was very bright, very strong, very powerful, just like our main character, right? And one of the main things was that he always kept his stuff a secret, and he had always got into some shit. This is essentially the same thing. And again, I understand. I love the character. I love like the torment, because right, it's like I can love this character, I can hate this character, but it's like at the same time, it's all like, yo, if you were really progressing as a character, I'd say, if anything, heck, you have a lot of friends. me personally, I understand what you mean. You know, you want to keep that in the family, right? With like intimate people. It's like, yo, you have Vaughn there, you have King there. You can't have. I mean, let's be honest now. You have a lot of people, and I get it. It's just that some people like it, some people don't. Personally, hey man, I'm watching you. I'm watching
Ursula, I
But
can
also, sorry, go ahead.
go to page 15, and because there's one thing that I can argue, like I'll go with Naya just one quick step further. Like for example, if I'm having problems like with my wife, regardless like finances or sex life or something, right? If I'm having problems with my wife, as close as me and my friends are, am I going to tell them? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that's something that got to stay between me and my wife. Just for a perfect example of why some things stay between certain people, no matter how close you are. The other thing is page 15 says, this is between me and my brother, my father, a family matter. I don't want anyone getting any further involved in this. Okay. But he says, but as Bond just said, I can't leave you either. He says, what am I supposed to do? Right here, he didn't decide I'm going to go after Zeldris on my own with Elizabeth. That wasn't the point. Bond and everybody had already left. He is literally sitting there with his head in his hands, pondering what is he supposed to do.
Yeah,
Should
but
he tell
he
them?
did, but he
Should
did
he?
withhold it though. He did withhold it
He
because he knew
withheld it.
immediately.
Exactly. That's
He
the thing.
did
That's the that I'm focused on. I understand that Elizabeth is
because
there
he
and that
wasn't
she's
sure
always
what
been
to
like that.
do. It wasn't about trust, though. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
point.
yeah. So what I was gonna say is two things could be true at one time, right? Just because he didn't tell them does not mean he doesn't trust them. Those two things could be true at the same time.
Right.
A lot of times if I'm telling someone something about myself that's personal, the one thing I always think like I don't mind because I'm not I'm a regular dude like it's whatever you can know things about me, but sometimes when I'm thinking about something I'd be like, does this in any shape or form am I dry stitching to somebody? Am I incriminating somebody else? Is me telling this story also link me to someone else, and maybe they didn't want someone to know this, so I might not say anything because maybe Graham doesn't want to know that. There's not someone to know that me and him talked about this that, and the other, right? So you can look at it from that perspective as well.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you. And again, like I like it because at the end of the day, like it also brings in the fact that like Elizabeth is there always as that support. Like think about it, right? Because at the end of the day, he has like right, even when he has no one else, right, to fall back on. That's the beauty of this character, Elizabeth here. Because at the end of the day, it's like yo, it's like she's like for one, she's actually like finally gotten to herself, which is the reason why like I'm actually really enjoying this because it's all like everyone's pretty much going on like a new adventure for the most part. This is kind of like the beginning of the story. You have Elizabeth here, and she's like, "Yo," she's like, "Let's go." The fuck,
Battle cup.
bitch. She's like, "Are you crazy? Like that's insane." But like I'd say the same thing about Luffy when he's like fucking just ready to go jump at Kaido. I wouldn't even think about it. But like with her, it's all like, "Yo, are you crazy? Like, yo, you've almost died like so many times. Like, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah, but they fought against two gods simultaneously. One god in a vessel. I mean, what's to be afraid of this time? They're already cursed. What the fuck worse can happen? She died 107 times and been cursed.
I'm not gonna lie to you. She
What
might
can
be the
he
most
do to
lit
her?
character. She might be like the most lit character in taizai because she's literally insane. Like she'll jump into shit that she actually has like no business being a part of, and that's kind of the funny part. I mean, like she has business, funny enough, but it's like yo, it's like yo, you're like that's crazy. What?
I still have a problem with it though. The like with Griever, what he said, it's like if it's a problem with his wife and finances and all that kind of stuff, you don't tell people everything. But that just affects you, right? In that scenario. But this
Yep.
affects the whole fucking world. The Demon
True,
King
true.
may end you within the next 24 hours. You tell people who might be able to help you.
True, Keishan. But as I've stated
Exactly.
before,
The
is that
stakes are there.
right here, in the last pages. Once again, look at the amount of events that took place. They still need to split up, as I said to Zarsal. At the end of the day, okay, Zeldris is the Demon King. What changes? They're going to send Escanor's going to still run to the capital with Hawk because Mail bogged off with his fucking grace. And okay, so now we're left with 6 sins plus Elizabeth, right? Well, the Endora is not going to be taken out by just Gother and fucking Deanne. So we got to send some powerhouses. We need some Merlin hacks. We need some fucking Fairy King of Awesome. We need something, right?
Fairy King of
And
Awesome. Fair enough.
so we need something, right? So
So
they're
we have like
still
two more
gonna.
forms, right? We have like two more forms we haven't even seen yet.
Probably,
I
but
think even more than that at this point.
actually more, yeah. But we still need to split up the group. So telling them right now wouldn't have really done much. Maybe Bon or Merlin would have went with them, but it still would have been instead of a 2-person party, it would have been 3. Them knowing wouldn't have changed the fact that a group is going to go fight Zell and another group is going to go fight the Endora. That's still what would have happened regardless of information being dropped. And I also say that once again, he withheld it because he didn't know what the fuck he wanted to do. Does he kill his brother? Does he try to save his brother? What does he do? He doesn't even know yet. And the only reason Elizabeth knows is because she already figured it out. He didn't tell her. So he's sitting there with his head in his hands going, okay, what is my best plan of action? What should I tell the group? Because you could argue the fact that he didn't trust a single one of them with Elizabeth's curse until it was too late, to a point. You could make that argument.
Already gung ho and take out the Endura like ASAP.
Yeah, like, so all I'm saying is that it probably will come up, and I'll tell you right now, what's going to probably happen is the Sins are going to defeat the Endora, or however that goes down. They're going to show up when Meliodas is about to get stabbed or something by Zell, and fucking Bond's going to come up, punch him in the face, be like, you should have trusted us, Captain. You know we're always here for you. We are the 7 deadly sins. Something like that, right? And it'll be an epic end of a chapter, right? That's probably what's going to happen, and it's just going to be in the feel goods. It's just building for the feel goods. It's not about a lack of trust. It's about Meliodas being terrified. Like when he first came back to life, he didn't know what to do. He hates himself for killing Fraudrin the way he did. He knows that's wrong. He doesn't know how to feel, doesn't know what to do. And right here is another situation. He thinks it's his fault, his responsibility. He's already done in the epilogue his apologies saying, you guys got dragged into a matter that didn't concern you. And I'm sorry, it's my fault. Everything that's happened is my fault. But thank you for standing beside me. He's already done his thank yous. They've done their military service to him. He doesn't want to drag them into further events that don't concern them in that way. If he
has to leave, he's not going to be around.
Right. So
it's like a goodbye too, in a sense, in him. So
yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting there like, he's going to try to go take care of business on his own. If they don't need to know, if nobody needs to be the wiser, fine dandy. He's fine with that. That's the way I took it anyway, is that he's a flawed character. He's sitting back going, I don't know what to do. Do I go, Merlin, Bond, everybody, please help me. Escanor, go get that fucking stupid angel and give him your power back. You borrowed it. You didn't give it for keep.
Yeah, you said I'll let it to you. And that man said, as a back, bitch, I'm not here.
Hey, man, he said he was going back to heaven or some shit, right? I mean, like, Zelda.
Okay, well, just, item drop the grace so I can have it back. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. We need to do a Pokemon trade here, man. This ain't, get out your DSs, do a trade, give me my grace back. Like, this ain't cool.
Take this, Pidgey. Give me the grace.
Yeah, give me the grace.
My power of poetry.
Yeah, and actually, someone in my because I brought this up in my review. Somebody said in the comments, they talked about that, and they said, well, Mael's stronger with the grace anyways, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, but that's not the point. Mael is basically our Escanor is basically the very chivalrous, the very classic knight person, the one who reads poetry, the one who's honest to a fault, that kind of stuff. Him telling him, he didn't lie. He said, I'll let you borrow it. That was him showing, even in nighttime form, that he has a set of pride, right? So I'm sitting there like, yeah, that still wasn't, oh no, I'm going to do trick. It's not Escanor to trick or to lie to him just to get Mael to do what they wanted. That's not Escanor's character. That would break everything we know about Escanor completely. So I'm sitting there like, when they said that, they said, oh no, he just basically lied to him and just said, just so they could get Mael to help. I went, no, that's not cool. He deserves that grace back. Give Escanor his grace back. Like...
Also, did any of you guys think that Meliodas and Elizabeth were actually going to run the whole way? Because I thought it was going to happen. I was like, you fuckers have wings, use them.
Oh,
no,
really?
I didn't think that.
Yeah, no.
It's almost
I thought they were
2
gonna fly
pages, and then they finally do.
That'd be funny though, because I probably just they just run there.
Yeah, they just dip. Just like, yeah.
All right, guys. That's about it for 312 and 311's discussion. 313 is gonna be that fire ass shit should be coming out. Like usual on Monday.
Can I say this last thing?
Go ahead, man.
A couple of weeks ago, we got trolled. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't really we were really talking about taizai. We thought the series was going somewhere we didn't want it to go. And I just want to say it's an absolute delight to be back talking about this shit on a weekly basis. We out here. Don't kill Zeldris. Get my boy's body back. You know what I'm saying? Get that out. You're
Bring back
Wanna-
Arthur. Hashtag bring back Arthur, please. Like dead ass, guys. Dead ass.
yeah. Don't do that. in the
Yeah.
back.
I will add and agree to what Naya said 110%. I'm glad we still get to do this. I'm glad the series continues.
Let's see when he wakes up. Let's see how he wakes up.
See y'all boys next time. Remember to like, subscribe. We're gonna have more for y'all boys. Yo
Where
ho!
Bugs at?
You're